Welcome back. Top 5 at 5:55 today. Top 5 teams that we now know were overrated in the preseason poll. So just get right into this. Number 5, Michigan State. I'm kind of surprised that they've lost 2 games already and they've fallen on the times they are. And I guess the group text we sent the other day that I sent you, was, I think Colorado State is having a little bit of sticker shock on Mel Tucker and $9 million the year after losing 2 games just like that.
It's a big contract, and they
Michigan
were really
State. Michigan State.
They big contract. They were really good last year, but man, yeah, you got to be walking around, people looking through doors and going, "What the hell's going on here in Lansing?"
Yeah, it's not good right now. They're not a very good team overall. You know, he won through the transfer portal and I guess attempted to replicate that, and it's not as magical as it was last year. I mean, wow, color me shocked that you went all in on a guy with very little evidence of any reason to do so because you just wanted to play defense basically in the college carousel world, and this is what happens. You way overpaid way too early for a guy who may or may not be the next big thing. They had a great year last year, but I mean, there's more losses coming their way. They're not just going to go win out and save face here. So I don't know where they end up ultimately. They might still end up being a pretty good team when all is said and done, but I do think you have to be very concerned about just how all in you went because you were worried about somebody else coming to get your guy. I think that's a bad way of doing business.
They are on the road against Maryland, who's improved, it appears. Then they have Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan.
Yeah.
Back to back to
really
back.
Tough. And when you try to win for the transfer portal, it's like in pro sports when you try to win through free agency. The best thing to do is win with your guys or build a team with your guys and then pepper in the spots. Oh, look, we lost a quarterback. Let's go get a quarterback. Let's get a tight end. Let's get a guard. Let's not get all of this and win that way because you got to win with your guys. It's just like the Florida Marlins can win a World Series, all free agents. But guess what happens the next year?
Hey, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, but you just can't expect sustainability.
But it's still an outlier
right.
In everything. Number 4, Houston. While they just barely came into the poll, this is a team that doesn't look like it needs to be discussed in rankings at all right now. We've discussed them at length with the infighting and the stress that's going around Dana Holgorsen, but this was a team that I remember us talking about early in the season might have been like, hey, why don't you give them a little more love with Clayton Tune and the stuff they've got coming back and the wins that they've had? Well, everybody else knew something that at least I didn't because I thought Houston was a little underrated to start the season, and now that's clear they've been overrated.
I was, in fact, the idiot that thought that if they could get through the month of September, that because of the way their schedule's set up, that they would be in pretty good shape to run the table. Not be Cincinnati, not that, but in that position, and obviously that has hit a brick wall.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it at length at this point. They've been massively disappointing. This was the year it was all set up to be great for Dana Holgorsen. It's what they've been building towards. And, you know, again, I hate that Alton McCaskill's injured. I'll keep saying that just because I think he's a great player, and they're certainly missing him right now. But, you know, Clayton Tune's senior year or super senior year, whatever it is at this point, this is not the start that you were anticipating. I'll give them some benefit of the doubt. They played a tough schedule. So as they get into American play, maybe that opens up a little bit and they get right. But early on, yeah, it's definitely been disappointing.
All right, number 3, Texas A&M. I don't think this comes as any surprise. It might be a surprise that they're number 3. But look, after the App State loss, they beat Miami, they beat Arkansas. They were not gloriously perfect wins, but even an ugly win is a win. But even still, this is not a team that even if they can manage to only lose another game or so this year and keep above 8-4, this was not to improve just from 8-4. This was to improve from 8-4 and contend for the CFP. This does not look like a team that can contend for the CFP.
The only way they can wipe away the blemish of Appalachian State, and that will be hard, is to go into Tuscaloosa and beat them for 2 years in a row.
Is Johnny Football coming back?
No, I'm not saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the only
right.
way you can that you could cover up the blemish of Appalachian State is to when you have to play Alabama and all your other games, you have to win the game in Tuscaloosa.
What if you finish 8-4 again?
And then you're 8-4 again.
Yeah.
Well, then I don't care if you beat Alabama. I think that's not progress in any way, shape, or form. You've already beaten Alabama and finished 8-4. So basically, you're just Groundhog Day for millions of dollars of Jimbo. So yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying, but like, at some point, even that gets old. We'll go lose games we shouldn't and lose 4 games a year. But, hey, we beat Alabama every other time.
You know, Spike Dykes at Texas Tech and sometimes Coach Tapp at Baylor, they'd rise up and beat somebody they weren't supposed to beat, but then they would lose the game to North Texas.
That's great. They also weren't acting like they were a top 5 program all time because they've got a bunch of money. And I'm not trying to just, throw slugs at A&M.
They may not win this weekend against Mississippi State.
Yeah, they might not. I don't even know if they're favored at last look. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. So, they've definitely been a massive disappointment. I don't know how they went into this season thinking their quarterback spot was good. I mean, that's what's puzzling to me was that we were hearing all about Haynes King and this Max Johnson, this quarterback competition. And they get there and you're like, wow, that's not what I thought it was going to be. I think Max Johnson steadies them a bit. They've got a really good defense, obviously, but big injury to one of their Anaya Smith. So now you're basically down to Devon Achane, and that's really all you have offensively. So, interested to see kind of their course the rest of the way and who emerges for them, if anybody.
Number 2, Miami, a team that lost to Texas A&M just a couple of weeks ago and then lost to Middle Tennessee State, and it wasn't close. I mean, they had to fight their way back to make it kind of look, if you looked at the scores, like, oh, maybe Middle Tennessee State had a good fourth quarter. No, Middle Tennessee State stuck it to Miami, stuck it to them, and Mario Cristobal has a lot more work ahead of him than he probably was hoping he did. I mean, I'm sure he probably knows more than we do, but the outside world thought Tyler Van Dyke right now was going into the season as one of the hot quarterbacks in the ACC. Right now, I would say he's the 6th best behind Hartman, DJU, Jordan Travis, Drake May, and Devin Leary in no particular order. 6th best, yeah.
He's number 2 on his own team now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
he's 6th best. He's number 2 on the Hurricanes at the moment. So
yeah. So bench during that game. We'll see what the future is. So that's of course been their big problem. They were quarter QBU for a long time.
Yeah,
Miami. They're not anymore.
And the fans at home love him.
What is this list? Is this a list of people with big talk in the offseason because of NIL money that said that they're back, but aren't really? Is that what this list is?
Yeah. Well, the top 3 maybe, yeah. So number one's always kind of obvious, but yeah, if you're talking about that with Miami, yeah, that's for sure.
I'm talking about with A&M too. I mean, but yeah, Miami talked big game. Nothing different there, but not backing it up so far this year, and I'm sure the moment that they look like they're turning the corner, we'll hear from him again, but not so much lately.
Yeah, number 1, Notre Dame picked 6th in the AP poll. Maybe everybody thought like Marcus Freeman could hit the ground running, but was the first coach in Notre Dame history to lose his first 3 games. Now, it looks like they've righted the ship a little bit now, but this is not a team that's going to contend for the CFP at all. They don't have a quarterback. It's going to be tough. Their defense isn't quite as good as they thought they were. They're starting to score some points, and they scored some against North Carolina last week, but ultimately this is a team that, once again, and Notre Dame falls in this list all the time, has been overrated because this is not a CFP team.
Well, last year they were pretty good, but you're right. They got a lot of love because of that, and they had a horrible start. We'll know more about them, Brigham Young. That'll give us a little bit more of an eye test of what happens when they play the Cougars in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I don't even know how much that's – I don't know. I feel like that's even lost a little bit of luster, but BYU was able to save some face last night after the slow start. But, yeah, that's not – if BYU had beaten Oregon, that game would have a lot more oomph, I feel like, to it. But once BYU lost their first game, it took a little steam away. And same thing for Notre Dame, quite frankly. But, by the time they get there, hopefully that'll be a good little contest. And I think Notre Dame – time will tell for them and Marcus Freeman. He's still a young coach. This isn't Cristobal, who's been at a bunch of places already and who's basically it turns out like he's basically the same guy he's always been, which I don't think is exactly what Miami signed up for necessarily. But I think with Freeman, you got to give it time. You got to let it breathe. And they'll be fine ultimately. But, another program that's probably feeling a little bit of heat around the collar of like, okay, I hope we made the right choice here. But, again, time will tell.
Cristobal is not Scott Frost bringing back a legend to coach your team because that was a complete disaster. But that doesn't always mean it works.
There's still a little of that flavor with Cristobal, though, when like, oh, he was here with Jimmy Johnson. He knows. He's been
He's from Miami.
So Notre Dame's 2-2. They have Brigham Young, Stanford. Okay, UNLV all of a sudden is kind of a fun little story. Our buddy Phil Venzer, by the way, that watches this show. Clemson, and then, of course, at the end of the year, USC. They're in that, if you're not careful, you're 7-5.
Well, yeah, I don't see them beating Clemson and USC. BYU, maybe not even BYU in Vegas. We'll see. And, look, I can tell you this, that the Catholic fans are going to have more fun in Vegas than the Mormon fans will. So,
all right, Garrett Ross, thank you very much for everything behind the scenes. Our incredible sponsors, those of you in the chat room as well, the text line, and hey, don't forget tomorrow, 12:30, our pregame, Baylor and Oklahoma State, 12:30 here on 365 Sports and also on the CW channel. And speaking of that, tonight, Sports Tonight at 10:30 on the CW channel. For Craig Smoke and Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoke. Thank you. Another week is about to end, and football weekend is about to continue. This is 365 Sports.